The sound of the sewing machine crashing against the tiled floor was so loud that even the neighbors heard it. It was not just a sound, it was the sound of a future being destroyed. 17-year-old Aderonke Ajayi stood frozen in the corner of the tiny sitting room of their two-bedroom apartment in Agege, Lagos, her hands trembling so badly she could barely feel her fingers anymore. Her eyes were wide, her lips shaking, and tears streamed down her face as she watched the only thing that gave her hope in life lie in pieces on the floor. Her sewing machine, the one she used to take small tailoring jobs, the one she used to sew clothes for neighbors, the one she had saved for, prayed for, suffered for, the one that was supposed to change her life. Now it was broken, smashed, destroyed, and standing over it, breathing heavily like a madman, was the person she feared the most in this world. Her stepfather, Mr. Kunle Ajayi. "Look at it very well," he said in a low, dangerous voice. "That's what happens when you think you can disrespect me in my own house." Aderonke shook her head violently, backing away until her back hit the wall. "I didn't disrespect you," she cried. "I just said no. I said no." Kunle laughed, but it was not a normal laugh. It was the laugh of a wicked man. "You said no to me," he repeated slowly. "After everything I've done for you and your useless mother?" He kicked the broken machine again, and a metal part flew across the room. Aderonke screamed. "You think you're better than me because you're small and fine?" he continued. "You think you can live under my roof, eat my food, and still refuse me?" Her heart felt like it was being crushed. "Please," she begged. "Please, sir, I'm your daughter. You're my father." Kunle's eyes turned dark. "You are not my daughter," he snapped. "You're just a poor girl that I picked from the gutter when I married your mother." Then he moved closer, too close. And that was when Aderonke realized something terrifying. This was not about the sewing machine. It had never been about the sewing machine. It was about the secret she refused to keep, and the price she was now paying for saying no. But what Aderonke did not know that night was that the same man who destroyed her sewing machine would soon destroy his own life in a way he could never imagine. Aderonke's life had not always been like this. There was a time when she was happy, a time when her world was small but safe, before her mother remarried, before Kunle entered their lives, before hell moved into their home. Flashback. Before the devil came. Her real father died when she was just 9 years old. He was a bus conductor who used to walk between Lagos and Abeokuta. One rainy night, a trailer lost control on the expressway and crushed the bus he was walking in. That was how Aderonke's childhood ended. Her mother, Mrs. Funke Adeyemi, cried for months. They moved from their small apartment in Abeokuta to Lagos to stay with one of her aunties in Agege. Life became hard. Funke started selling akara in the morning and fried yam in the evening. Aderonke stopped going to private school and joined the public one. Sometimes they didn't even have money for 3 meals a day, but they were still happy because they had peace. Then one day, Kunle came into their lives. He was a customer who used to buy akara every morning. He was always well dressed, always smiling, always cracking jokes. He started helping Funke with small money, paid Aderonke's school fees one term, bought them a small gas cooker. After 6 months, he proposed. Funke was tired of suffering, so she said yes. That was the biggest mistake of her life. At first, Kunle acted like a good man. He paid the rent. He even helped Aderonke buy her first sewing kit when she told him she wanted to become a fashion designer. But slowly, the mask started falling. He began drinking too much, started coming home late, started shouting at Funke, started insulting Aderonke, calling her names, calling her useless, calling her a burden. Then one evening, everything changed. Funke had traveled to Ibadan for a family burial. It was just Kunle and Aderonke in the house. She was in the kitchen washing plates when she felt someone standing behind her. She turned and saw Kunle staring at her in a way she had never seen before. Not like a father, not like a stepfather, but like a man looking at a woman. "You're growing fast," he said. Aderonke felt uncomfortable. "Good evening, sir," she said and tried to walk past him. He blocked her. You're very fine now, he continued. Do you have a boyfriend? No, sir. He smiled slowly. Good. You don't need one. That was the first time fear entered her heart. From that day, Kunle started behaving strangely. He would touch her shoulders when passing, brush against her body, enter her room without knocking. One night he finally said it. I can take care of you, he whispered. Better than any boy. I'll buy you clothes, phones, even send you abroad. Aderonke froze. What are you saying, sir? You know what I'm saying, he replied. Just keep it between us. Your mother must never know. She felt sick. She pushed him away and ran to her room. She cried all night. From that day, Kunle turned into her enemy. He stopped paying her school fees, stopped buying her food, started insulting her openly, and when she saved enough money from sewing to finally buy her own sewing machine, he waited for the perfect day to punish her. That was how they got to this moment, the moment he smashed her future. Kunle walked out of the sitting room and banged the door. Aderonke collapsed to the floor beside the broken machine, crying like a child. This machine was her escape, her hope, her way out of poverty. Now it was gone, and worse, her mother had no idea. But what Kunle did not know was that this broken sewing machine would become the beginning of his downfall. Because in Lagos, secrets never stay buried forever, and karma does not forget addresses. The night Kunle destroyed the sewing machine, Aderonke did not sleep. She sat on the cold tiled floor of her small room in Agege, hugging her knees to her chest, staring at nothing. Her eyes were swollen from crying, her throat dry, her heart aching in a way she had never felt before. The broken sewing machine lay in the sitting room like a dead body. Every time she closed her eyes, she heard the sound again. Bang, metal hitting the floor, her future shattering. She felt empty, not just sad, empty, like something inside her had been ripped out. That machine was not just a machine, it was her escape plan, her dream, her only way out of that house. Now she was trapped, with a man who hated her and wanted something she could never give. When morning came, Aderonke did not leave her room. She could hear Kunle moving around the house, dragging chairs, coughing loudly, turning on the television as if nothing had happened, as if he had not destroyed her life. Her mother, Funke, returned from Ibadan around 9 a.m. Aderonke heard the door open. Kunle, I'm back, Funke's cheerful voice echoed. Kunle responded normally. Welcome. How was the burial? It was fine, very stressful. I'm tired. Aderonke's heart started beating fast. This was it. Her mother would see the machine. She would ask questions. The truth would come out. Or so she thought. But Kunle was faster. Come and rest first. I'll make tea for you, he said calmly. Funke went into the bedroom. Kunle quickly dragged the broken sewing machine into the small store beside the kitchen and locked it. When Funke finally came out, tired and dusty, there was no sign of anything, no broken machine, no evidence, no problem. Kunle sat on the sofa, sipping tea like an innocent man. Funke looked around. Where is Ronke? She asked. She's sleeping. That girl is lazy. Funke frowned. She didn't even come to greet me. Kunle shrugged. Leave her. She's always behaving somehow. And just like that, the truth was buried. Again. Around noon, Aderonke finally came out of her room. Her eyes were red. Her face looked pale. Funke noticed immediately. My daughter, what happened to you? You look sick. Aderonke opened her mouth to speak. Then she looked at Kunle. He was staring at her, not smiling, not blinking, just staring, a warning. Her throat closed. Nothing, Mommy, she whispered. Funke touched her forehead. You're hot. Are you okay? Aderonke nodded slowly. Yes, Ma. She walked into the kitchen like a robot. Kunle followed her with his eyes. He knew she wanted to talk. He also knew she was afraid, and that made him feel powerful. The silent, suffering days passed, then weeks. Aderonke stopped sewing, stopped going out, stopped smiling. She stayed mostly in her room. Her school fees were due, no money. Her phone stopped working, no money. Her clothes were old and torn, no money. Kunle controlled everything in that house: food, money, peace, and he used it to punish her. Funke noticed the change, but like many tired Nigerian mothers, she blamed it on teenage mood. Young girls of nowadays are always somehow, she told herself. She did not see the fear in her daughter's eyes. She did not see how Aderonke flinched whenever Kunle entered the room. She did not see how her daughter locked her door every night. She did not see the prison. One evening, Funke went to a neighbor's naming ceremony. Kunle waited. He waited until the house was quiet. Then he knocked on Aderonke's door. Open. Aderonke's heart jumped into her throat. No, sir. He knocked again. Open before I break this door. Slowly, shaking, she opened it. Kunle walked in, closed the door behind him. You think I'm joking with you? He said calmly. Aderonke stepped back. Please leave my room. He laughed softly. You refused me. I destroyed your machine. You kept quiet. That was good. He moved closer. But don't think you've won. She started crying. What do you want from me? He leaned close to her ear. You will suffer in this house until you change your mind. Her legs became weak. I will make sure you don't go to school. I will make sure nobody helps you. I will make sure your mother never believes you. He smiled. And one day you will beg me. Aderonke shook her head violently. I would rather die. Kunle's smile disappeared. Be careful what you say. He walked out and locked her door from outside. That night Aderonke cried until she had no tears left. 2 months later, Aderonke dropped out of school. Her uniform was torn, her books outdated. Funke had no money. Kunle refused to help. Let her stay at home. She's useless anyway, he said. That word, useless. It cut deeper than any slap. Aderonke became a housemaid in her own home, cooking, cleaning, washing, silent, invisible. She watched her dreams die slowly. Every night she prayed, God, please save me, but heaven felt far away. One afternoon, while fetching water from the compound tap, she met Auntie Sola, a fashion designer who lived 2 streets away. Sola looked at her. Ronke, I've not seen you sewing again. Aderonke forced a smile. I stopped. Why? She hesitated, then whispered, My machine is broken. Sola frowned. That one is easy to fix. Bring it. Let my husband check it. Aderonke's heart started beating fast. She thought of the store, the locked door. Kunle. She shook her head. It's not with me. Sola looked at her face closely. Ronke, are you okay at home? Aderonke almost broke down. Almost. But she swallowed it. I'm fine, Ma. Sola didn't believe her, but she let her go. As Aderonke walked back to the house, she didn't know that this small conversation was the first crack in Kunle's perfect lie, because the same woman, Auntie Sola, would soon become the person who would accidentally discover Kunle's secret. And when that secret comes out, nothing in that house would ever be the same. Again, Aderonke did not know when fear became her normal. At first, it used to come in waves, sudden moments of panic, moments of tears, moments of silent prayers in the night. But now, fear lived with her. It woke up with her. It followed her into the kitchen. It sat beside her in the sitting room. It slept on the same bed with her. Fear had become her shadow, and the shadow's name was Kunle Ajayi. Every morning, Aderonke woke up before everyone. She swept the compound, washed the plates, cooked breakfast. Not because she loved doing it, but because she was afraid of giving Kunle any excuse. Any small mistake could turn into an insult, or a slap, or worse, a visit to her room at night. So she tried to become invisible, quiet, perfect. But no matter what she did, Kunle always found a reason. This soup is too salty. You're useless. Can't you do anything right? Funke would try to defend her. Sometimes, leave her alone, Kunle. She's still young. Kunle would just laugh. You're spoiling her. That's why she's stubborn. Aderonke would lower her head. If only her mother knew what stubborn really meant. The broken sewing machine remained in the store, locked, untouched. Sometimes at night, when everyone was asleep, Aderonke would quietly open the store door with the spare key she secretly copied. She would sit on the floor beside the broken machine, touch it, clean it, cry over it. That machine was like a dead friend, the only thing that ever made her feel useful. Sometimes she imagined fixing it herself, but she had no tools, no money, no courage, just pain. As months passed, Kunle became more confident, more wicked, more daring. He started making comments in front of her mother. Your daughter is becoming too proud. She's too quiet. Girls like that hide. Things. Funke would look confused. What are you saying? Kunle would smile. Nothing, just observation. But when they were alone, the words changed. You think I've forgotten you? He whispered one night. Aderonke's heart jumped. Please leave me alone. He laughed softly. I will never leave you alone, not until you agree. She started shaking. I will tell my mother. Kunle's face changed from smile to pure darkness. If you try it, I will destroy you. Her voice disappeared. That was when she truly understood. She was trapped. And this is where I want to ask you, watching this story right now, where are you watching from? Drop your country flag in the comments if you're proud of your country. And if you've ever seen a young girl suffer silently like this, share this story. Because stories like Aderonke's are happening every day in real life. Meanwhile, Auntie Sola did not forget Aderonke. The girl's face kept coming back to her mind. The fear in her eyes, the way she avoided questions. One afternoon, Sola decided to visit. She came with a small bowl of egusi soup. Good afternoon, she shouted from the gate. Funke came out. Sola, you're welcome. They exchanged greetings. Sola looked around. Where is Ronke? She's inside. Call her. I want to see her. Aderonke came out slowly. When Sola saw her, she was shocked. The girl looked thinner. Her eyes looked tired. Her smile looked fake. Ronke, you're not fine. Aderonke forced a laugh. I'm fine, Ma. Sola looked straight at her. Bring your sewing machine. Let me see it. Silence. Funke turned. Sewing machine? What sewing machine? Aderonke froze. Her heart almost stopped. Sola frowned. Her machine, the one she used to sew. Funke looked confused. Which machine? She never told me anything. Aderonke felt her legs shaking. Kunle suddenly appeared from the bedroom. What's going on here? Sola smiled politely. I was asking about Ronke's sewing machine. Kunle answered quickly. It got spoiled. She sold it. Aderonke's eyes widened. Sold it? Sola looked at Aderonke. Is that true? Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. Kunle stared at her. A warning. She nodded slowly. Yes, Ma. Sola knew she was lying. She just didn't know why. Yet. That night, Auntie Sola could not sleep. She kept thinking about Aderonke's face, the fear, the silence, the way Kunle answered too fast. Something was wrong, and Sola was the type of woman who trusted her instincts. 2 days later, she passed by again, this time when Kunle had gone to work. She met Aderonke alone in the compound. She pulled her aside. Ronke, look at me. Aderonke did. Sola spoke softly. You are not okay. Tears filled Aderonke's eyes. Please, don't ask me. Sola held her hands. You are not alone. Whatever it is, I can help. Aderonke tried to hold it in, but months of pain came rushing out. Her lips started shaking. I'm scared. Sola's heart dropped. Of who? She whispered. My stepfather. Sola felt cold. What did he do? Aderonke looked around, then whispered something so small, so painful, that Sola felt her own heart break. He wants me to be his secret. Sola froze. The world stopped. Jesus! Tears rolled down Aderonke's face. He destroyed my sewing machine because I refused. Sola's body started shaking, not with fear, with anger, pure anger. But what Aderonke did not know was that Auntie Sola was not just a fashion designer. She was a woman with connections, a woman with courage, and a woman who hated injustice. And the moment she heard that secret, Kunle's days of control were officially numbered. For the first time in months, Adironke did not feel completely alone. She still felt afraid. She still felt trapped. But now, someone knew. Someone had seen through the lies. Someone had heard the truth, and that someone was Auntie Sola. As Adironke finished whispering everything, the touches, the threats, the destroyed sewing machine, her whole body was shaking like she had malaria. Sola held her tightly. My dear Chet, I'm so sorry. Aderonke broke down completely. She cried the kind of cry that comes from the soul, the kind that is not loud, the kind that is heavy, the kind that carries months of pain. I thought nobody would ever believe me, she sobbed. I thought I was going mad. Sola stroked her hair gently. You are not mad, and you are not alone again. I promise you. For a long moment, they just stood there in the compound. Two women, one broken, one angry, and one dangerous secret hanging between them. 2 days later, Sola came again. This time she came with a plan. She waited until Funke was around. She greeted them warmly. Funke, I wanted to talk to you about Ronke. Funke smiled. Oh, that girl. She has changed since she stopped school. Sola nodded. That's why. She's talented. She shouldn't waste her life. Conley sat up. What are you trying to say? Sola smiled politely. I want to take her as an apprentice in my shop. The room went quiet. Adironke's heart almost jumped out of her chest. Funke looked surprised. You mean fashion designing? Yes, I'll train her properly. She can even stay with me some days. Kunle's eyes narrowed. No. Everyone turned to him. No? Funke asked. I don't like that idea, Kunle said firmly. Sola looked at him. Why? She's still young, and she's needed at home. Sola forced a smile. But she needs a future. Kunle's voice hardened. I said no. Adironke felt her hope collapsing. Funka hesitated. Well, Kunle is the head of the house. Sola stood up slowly. I understand. She looked at Adironke, and in that look she said without words, we are not done yet. That night, Sola did something bold. She gave Adironke a small cheap phone. This one records voice, she whispered. Anytime he threatens you, press this. Adironke stared at the phone. Her hands were shaking. What if he finds it? Hide it well, inside your clothes, or under your pillow. Adironke swallowed. This was dangerous, but this was also the first real weapon she had ever had. 2 nights later, it happened. Funke went for an all-night vigil at church. Kunle waited. Around midnight, he knocked on Adironke's door. Open. Her heart started racing. Slowly, she reached for the small phone under her pillow. She pressed record. Then she opened the door. Kunle walked in. You think you have people now, he said softly. Adironke stayed quiet. You think that woman can save you? He moved closer. She cannot save you from me. Tears filled Adironke's eyes. Please leave me alone. Kunle laughed. You will never be free until you agree. The phone was recording everything. Her hands were shaking behind her back. If you tell anyone, I will destroy your mother's life, Adironke whispered. You're evil. Kunle smiled. And you are mine. The next morning, Adironke went straight to Sola. Her body was shaking as she handed her the phone. Sola pressed play. Kunle's voice filled the room, clear, threatening, evil. Sola covered her mouth. Kunmi listened too. When the recording ended, Kunmi stood up. That's enough. Sola nodded slowly. Yes, now we have proof. For the first time since her father died, since Kunle entered her life, since her machine was destroyed, Adironke felt something she had almost forgotten. Hope. Real hope. But what Adironke did not know was that Kunle had also been watching her movements, watching her visits, and that same night, he would discover that something had changed, and when Kunle realizes he is losing control, he would become more dangerous than ever before. Kunle Ajayi had always believed one thing, That fear was stronger than truth, that silence was permanent, that poor people had no voice, and that young girls were easy to break. For years, that belief had worked for him. But on this particular morning in Agege, Lagos, for the first time in his life, Kunle woke up with a strange feeling in his chest. Unease. The kind of unease that has no clear reason. The kind that whispers, something is about to go wrong. He noticed it in the way Aderonke avoided his eyes. Not usual fear, not usual trembling. This time there was something else. Calm, controlled, almost confident. It irritated him. That evening he followed her from a distance. He watched her leave the compound, turned the corner, and enter Auntie Sola's house. Kunle stopped walking. His heart started beating fast. So this is it. He waited 10 minutes, 20, 30. When she finally came out, Kunle confronted her at the gate. Where are you coming from? Aderonke froze. Sola's house. What were you doing there? She swallowed. Nothing. Kunle laughed. You think I'm stupid? He grabbed her wrist tightly. Come inside. Neighbors looked, but nobody spoke. They never did. Inside the house, Kunle locked the door. Funke was not around. Again, perfect timing. You've been planning something, he said quietly. Aderonke was shaking, but this time she did not beg. She looked at him straight in the eyes. You can't hurt me anymore. Kunle stared at her. Then he laughed. You're very funny today. She spoke slowly. I recorded you. The room went silent. Kunle's smile disappeared. What did you say? I recorded everything. For the first time, real fear entered Kunle's eyes. You're lying. She shook her head. I'm not. Kunle stepped back, then forward. He raised his hand. I will kill you. Aderonke screamed, and for the first time in years, someone answered. The door burst open. Auntie Sola and her husband Kunmi rushed in. Behind them, 2 police officers. Kunle turned around. His world collapsed. Mr. Kunle Ajayi, one of the officers said, you're under arrest for sexual harassment, threat, and emotional abuse of a minor. Funke ran in from outside. What is happening? Aderonke collapsed into her mother's arms. Mommy, I'm sorry, I was scared. Sola played the recording. Kunle's own voice filled the room, threatening, dirty, cruel. Funke dropped to the floor, her entire body shaking. This is not true. But it was. Kunle tried to talk. They handcuffed him, dragged him out. Neighbors gathered, phones recording, whispers everywhere. The stepfather? Jesus! So it was true. Kunle was taken away in a police van. The same man who once controlled the house left it in shame. That night, Funke cried like she had never cried before. I failed you. I failed you. Aderonke held her. You didn't know, Mommy. But the pain remained. The guilt remained. The truth remained. The case went to court. The recording was evidence. Sola testified. Kunle lost his job, lost his reputation, lost his freedom. He was sentenced. The same man who once destroyed a sewing machine now sat behind bars with nothing. Healing months later, Aderonke moved in with Sola. She went back to school. Sola and her husband fixed the sewing machine, better than before. She started sewing again, not as a victim, but as a survivor. Her first fashion collection was named Silence No More. And if you're watching this story right now, remember this. Evil survives in silence, but truth always finds a voice, somewhere, somehow. And when it does, no matter how powerful the oppressor is, they always fall. Aderonke once thought her life ended the day her sewing machine was destroyed, but in reality, that was the day her story began, not as a victim, but as a woman who survived hell and walked out stronger.